question on arm triangle. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to Montreal finally after almost 2 years and filmed a video with Firas. And one of the topics we covered, it just came out a few days ago, is arm triangle. So I provided one very important detail. So check it out. It's on TriStar Gym channel. But there's a question. So the question was the defense. So when I apply my arm triangle, answering the phone doesn't help. That basically, people tend, once I'm sort of locked up the way I want to be with my forearm flush with the floor, and that's not the important detail, it is one of them, but there's another one. It's done, even if the guy tries to answer the phone. So the most effective way is to understand it's coming on and early and hide your arm underneath the leg. So let's go over just general philosophy. Turn to the camera. So first, guys, once I'm here, you all right?
I am.
Once I'm here, Enrique, answer the phone.
Hello. How are you?
So you can do a couple of things. Usually,
No one was on the other line, Fox.
yeah, no, they were trying to tell you you should tap. And this is not my good side, by the way, guys. So once I lock it up, even if he's answering the phone, Enrique's actually, if you can't see it, but he's actually posting his fist on the floor too. It doesn't matter. So once I get it, it's tight. So that's not the answer. And by the way, there's sort of an old school shoulder lock using your head. As I told you before, guys, using your head is very important in jiu-jitsu. So if he tries to answer the phone, what I'm going to try to do is grab his wrist and get a quick shoulder lock. So my philosophy is, generally speaking, if you start to lose confidence, or if you going after somebody and you apply a constriction submission, meaning a choke, and it's not working, or you feel like it's not working, it's always good to switch, not necessarily one choke for another choke, but joint lock. So, or if I got somebody who's super flexible and I feel that it's not going to work, but I'd rather get a choke, I'll switch to that. So it's rare to find somebody. What are you doing? Pay attention.
I am paying attention.
So it's good to sort of change up the submission type, because it's rare to have somebody that's extremely flexible as well as has really deep carotids. So it's good to try that shoulder lock, but the real effective way to deal with it is if you see it kind of early on and Enrique buries his arm under the leg. This is probably the most effective way to deal with an arm triangle. When people do this, you need to kind of give him a good, kind of continue to squeeze. All right? So I continue to squeeze to make sure that he does not believe that his neck is safe anymore. So anytime so I'm going to continue to squeeze. As I'm doing this, I'm continuing to squeeze. I'm windshield wipering my legs, and I'm going to switch into an armbar. So once I'm in this armbar situation, it no longer is about the choke. Now I went to a joint lock. So that's probably the most effective way to deal with that type of defense. It's not easy, guys, to make that transition. I'm going to do it a couple more times. But if you wind up in a lot of arm triangles like I do, it's good to practice this, because this is probably the best way to counter his defense against arm triangle. So I'm going to do it on this side. So again, I get into an arm triangle. So I'm going to actually pulling in to make sure that he continues to protect his neck. I windshield wipered my legs, switch, and now I have a very strong arm bar. I'm going to do it a couple different angles. So again, I'm going to make sure that he continues to defend his neck. Because if I just switch, now he's going to go back to flat, and now I lost the attack. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to windshield wiper my legs. My left knee is not directly under his body, otherwise it's going to get trapped. And this is done. Let's look at it from the back so you guys can see the leg movement. So again, I'm going to continue to apply pressure. I start to windshield wiper my legs. And armbar it is. There is one more possibility, but Enrique's religion prohibits him from being cryangled on a Friday, so Mike's going to step in.
Oh.
He's going to be the crash test dummy for this one. So again, if Mike defends, so instead of an armbar, if I feel like he's really, it's going to be hard, what I'll do is I'll switch my leg in. Don't cringe yet, Mike. I'm going to do it nice for you. And now I attack. As you remember from the triangle episodes, you don't necessarily have to cross your legs. I could, but to make it nice, but to make it nice for Mike, oh, no, it's no longer nice.
I was gonna say this.
Still have time to convert, Mike.
So again, if I feel like he's really flexible, he's bent, I will just step in. Now I will cross my ankles. This is all you need to do. You don't need to lock a triangle, although you can. All right? All right, Enrique, you back in.
He baptized me in acai, so
So that's some of the options when the guy defends the arm triangle properly, meaning that he sees it coming on early and buries that hand under his leg. That's probably the best way to deal with it. The other ways, kind of answering the phone or just kind of like just trying to, flare out your shoulder so the choke's not quite on, is if you have somebody that's good at arm triangle, it's going to be very difficult other than that defense. So you need to switch to a joint lock. All right, Mike, do we have any questions?
regarding the arm triangle, Diego De La Garza is asking, can you go over anticipating the arm triangle and defense too?
Wait, what?
You're defending. You're anticipating the arm triangle and defending it.
Well, we just did.
No, you're countering the defense. How to actually defend it.
Oh, how to defend it. Bring your hand. So I'm defending.
Yes.
We just went, guys, this is the best defense. And then the question is, who's better? Am I better at my defense, or is the guy that's countering in the defense better at the offense? That's the real answer. It's, arm triangle, once I'm caught in it, if the guy's got it good, it's kind of late. Sort of like asking what's, once this is fully locked in, what's the defense? Yeah, you can pry the first hand and second hand. By then you might be out or tapping. It is burying the arm. That's probably the best defense. If I feel, the funny thing is Enrique's taking my back. My defense against the back take is to almost give him an arm triangle. Most people feel comfortable getting out of it. But right now, this is late. I'm going to try to bury my left hand underneath his belly. And I'm trying to withdraw my right arm, but he's letting me. If he doesn't let me, this is going to be done. So again, the best defense is if you can withdraw that arm. But once it's trapped and the guy's really good at it, he doesn't have to shut down both carotids. He needs to just focus on one. And, watch the video with Firas, and if there's any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Lots of peers asking, would you just wait for the uke to switch to the other attacks?
No, you don't. Here's the thing. We talk about positions that are non-viable. If you're caught in an arm triangle, your position is not viable, meaning that you can't just sit there, wait for him, to switch, that's a mistake on his part. If I have a submission and it's working, I am not switching. We talked about it, guys. It's one of the biggest mistakes. You see people, kind of, especially from the guard, they kind of, so armbar and, switch and this and, switching triangles and omoplata. No, if one of them is working, stay with it until he offers you something. So first, if you have a good submission, good attack, I will stay on it unless he starts to defend it, one, and two, gives me something in return, meaning something, a positional advantage or some sort of a follow-up submission that I can see he's not going to be defending as well as the one that he's under right now. So I need those two elements. I don't wait for, there's certain things, if I'm bottom side control, you can wait. You can wait for him to move around and see if he makes a mistake and you can capitalize on it. I don't necessarily recommend it, especially in training. I believe that you should be able to try to get out and improve your position. But that's a viable position. It may suck, but it's a viable position for you. If you're in a choke, that's not a viable position. You have limited time left to either tap or escape. So you need to try to escape. And if you can, then it's a submission. If you can, chances are, if the guy has a good attack, you have to give him something in return. You have to open up something else. It's, again, one of the sort of sequences that I go into arm triangles is from being mounted, where the guy is trying to escape the mount, or where I'm hunting for the guy's back and he defends the back take by giving me the arm triangle. So, if he successfully defends the back take, I'll take the arm triangle. But he has to successfully first defend it and give me that arm. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to hunt for the back and go for that submission.
And Jeffrey Knight is...
Hey, what's up?
He says, Karel, what's up? He says, are you still using your famous paper cutter / NoGi baseball bat choke? And can you set it up from there?
No. Yes, I do. So why don't you turn this way? Yes, I do. It's one of my favorite submissions. I actually prefer the NoGi version of it, even with the gi. The problem is to get rid of an arm triangle. He has to turn towards you or away from you. All right. In either case, it makes the bowl cutter baseball bat choke being defended, so to speak. So if I'm threatening a baseball bat choke on Enrique, go ahead, defend. Yeah, it's off. Okay. If I'm threatening, turn away. Yeah, it's off. So the point is, if I'm in a position of an arm triangle, the switch to baseball bat choke, it's a sort of bigger switch because I'm taking my weight and pressure off. I'm switching my hands too soon, and a guy that's in that extreme danger will know immediately. He will move immediately. This is his chance to bust out. What makes this counter to the armbar viable is basically because I continue to squeeze the neck, knowing that it's probably gone, and the arm is already fully extended. So basically, it's an easy switch. So by the time I actually take my weight off him or my body off him, it's too late. The arm is already going. So I do love that choke, but I would not use it for that purpose as a counter.
And Adolfo Ferranda is saying, great secondary options. He says you should do an episode on secondary options / plan Bs.
Yeah, that's kind of the basic mark of my game is Fluid. That was the whole thing with Fluid BJJ. As you know, I like to train in the water, but Fluid BJJ is more than just training in the water. It's a play on words. My game is very much geared towards attack, and if you attack somebody with a precise, whether it's a sweep or submission, a lot of times my guard, I tend to threaten submission first and use the sweep as a secondary attack. But some people use the sweep and then use the submission as a secondary attack. It's up to you, but generally speaking, a high-level guy, it's very unlikely you're going to just slap your legs up and catch him in a triangle. It could happen. It happened. You know, I've seen that in competition. You know, world champion black belt. Still remember it like it was yesterday. You know, he won the world championship at black belt the year before in absolute division. Gets caught in a flying triangle, like literally in the first 10 seconds. The guy's crying, you know, but sometimes that happens, but it's rare. So if you attack and the guy defends, you need to follow up. If you have a precise and well-timed attack, their defense is very predictable. It's not like, oh, I can twist this way, I can twist this way, I can pop up, I can curl up. The defense is very predictable. And it's an easy to establish a pattern. How do you take advantage of their defense? And that's basically the whole idea behind Fluid BJJ. That's the style I recommend to people. You know, people sometimes, especially guys that are injured or older, they're like, what should I be doing? You know, some guys say slow the game down, use more strength. And I don't like that because I think, you know, when you use strength and try to force something that might not be there, that's when things tend to snap and pop and so forth. I'd rather out-chest the guy. I know I attack. This is a good attack, well-timed. Okay, it's done, we're finished. If not, I know exactly there's literally one option that he might have. And if I can take advantage of his defensive option, I'm maintaining that 1 or 2 steps ahead, and I stay on him until basically he's out of options except for tapping or napping.
And Sea-Dog is asking, he says, I see that you like the pound-to-pound grip on the NoGi baseball bat choke. What are your thoughts on the S or C grip?
That's a good one. People tend to use, I think from the top, it's not as tight. This one is tighter, but the S grip is very good, especially when you're applying it from the bottom. There's guys that actually do it, you know, do it from the bottom, but for that, because the guy is possibly spinning around and twisting, you need a little bit greater reach and sort of more flexibility in that grip. I can't do it, to be honest with you, because my wrists start to, I literally would probably tap myself trying to do it. But there's guys that do it very well and they use the S grip. So that's usually, they use it more from the bottom, from the guard, or from actually when their guard gets past, and use the S grip in a NoGi version of the baseball bat choke.
And Consciousness of Kane is asking, going for the near side armbar, the opponent always comes up on me and I fail to transition to the triangle. Can you show tips of transitioning from near side armbar to triangle?
Is it the arm is up on top or the bottom? Because you can do it on either side. So I'm assuming the top one.
Yeah.
So chances are what you're doing is so you need to make sure that your knee is at the very least the level of his head. So the level of his head, so I'm about this much higher. Second, you know, in jiu-jitsu we're taught that tighter is better, not always. In this case, it needs to be loose. You can see how much space there is. There's literally this much space between Enrique's shoulder and my hips, you know, the leg as well. I don't want to be on his shoulder, because if I'm on his shoulder, it makes his escape easy. I want to have it loose. I'm going to post so he cannot come up that quickly. And look how much space there is. This is on. I don't even need to bring the leg over. But if he's coming up, block his hand. Okay? So if he does come up, you need to block his hand. So one more time, we can do the other side. So I may, threaten as I'm posting on his shoulder to slow him down just a little bit. Once I decide to go for the triangle, I will block his hand. As he's coming up, he's coming into a deep triangle, so you have a lot of time. So I believe that you may not be setting it up. When you put his arm at risk, it makes them move a little slower because they can feel the tension and they feel like, okay, if they make some sudden move, that it's going to pop. So usually when it's up this way, people will come up and but they need to twist a little bit and come up, but their base is not underneath them. they're coming from laying down. So instead of, it's a lot easier to defend a triangle when your base is underneath you. You get caught, you can kind of posture up and step over. So there's a couple of different defenses you can use. But when you're coming up from laying down, you basically, you don't have a base. So you have to first come up, and the next step is to get your base underneath. So this buys you time. All you need to do is make sure you block his wrist. Basically, you just, you can grab the sleeve. I just like to grab the wrist rather than the sleeve, because, so if I'm grabbing the sleeve, he can still twist a little bit. The grip, sort of NoGi version of the grip is okay, are we doing this? The NoGi version of the grip is probably a little bit more controlling than at the sleeve. The sleeve tends to, if you want to kind of hold the guy from backing up is really good. But if you try to just kind of create space for yourself to bring that leg in, it's better probably to hold on with your hand on the wrist.
He said, thank you. Blocking the hand is what I'm failing to do automatically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, play around with it. To be honest with you, that armbar is marginal. I would probably do it. I do it to guys when in training. I probably would not do it in a match where it mattered, or in MMA. What I like about it, it teaches you a lot about the principles of armbarring. Again, you know what those 4 things are, right? It's the grip, fulcrum, angle, and follow-up. So this is first of all, the fulcrum is your inner thigh rather than the hips. The angle is kind of oddball. It's like this. The fulcrum grip.
You haven't talked about the grip.
The grip, yeah, the grip is under armpit grip, which is what I like, and follow up is the triangle. So if you do this sequence, it's not probably the most practical sequence, but it is really a good sequence to teach you about adjusting angles in armbarring, because a lot of times people just kind of, when they armbar somebody, they try to get a perfect perpendicular angle, and if they fail with it, the guy not just escapes the armbar, but also passes their guard. This teaches you to make slight angle adjustments where you can continue to armbar somebody even though they kind of took away that desired angle. A lot of times it's also interplay between, they start to defend the elbow by putting their shoulder at risk, and you have to attack the shoulder and possibly go back to the elbow when they react, to the shoulder attack. So I like that sequence a lot from a sort of a developmental standpoint.
And one last question before we close out. JD Smith is asking, he's trying to choke Jason Beber. What do you suggest? Thanks from Phoenix Jitsu.
Oh, I think armbarring is the way to go. I guess I wore this. This is apropos today, right? I know that it's been a while since I trained with Jason, but I believe armbarring is the way to go. I don't remember, which chokes. But listen, all chokes are good. It's always good to mix it up a little bit. I think I have a very broad game, so I like joint locks. I like constriction. So
you say he should armbar Jason, not choke him.
Yes. Sorry, my mind was on something else. Guys, I got a question on Facebook about a specific technique, and there is an index, right, which is available at episode 50, but you must have the app. If you're using the browser, you're probably not going to find it, but there's a very easy way. You go on YouTube and type in the technique that you're looking for to see if we covered it. I don't mind covering things again or different aspects of it, but I'd rather have a more specific question, because that's the general theme of this. Is it podcast? Whatever, call it whatever you guys want. Show, yeah. Let's get the juggling thing going. So the general theme is troubleshooting. So rather than like, how do I make this work? Well, we might have covered it already, but I'm looking for more specific. Okay, I'm having trouble like we
Jason's
talked about
question.
this near side armbar. I'm having trouble. The guy. That's it. I'm happy to address those questions. So I'd like to stay with the theme. So if you if you have a request about a technique, just do a quick search if we covered it. If there's something unclear or something that maybe we didn't cover, I'm happy to go over it again. But I just don't want to rehash the same thing that we explained, you know, a month ago, 2 months ago. And just like that, Mike is giving us the. I was gonna say something, but Enrique, you breaking my concentration. I'm gonna kick your ass. Guys, at this point, he took whatever thoughts I had in my head. So, guys, please like, share, subscribe, and you move away because I'm gonna, yeah, just stay out of my range. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.